Good morning, ladies. We welcome you, and we're so glad that you're here. We come to you from Austin, Texas, where the International Finance Committee has been meeting since Thursday. So this is the first time we've all been together for a treasure talk, and we're real excited about that. Before we begin, you need to know this morning's meeting is being recorded and the content will be used on DKG's website. By participating, you agree that your voice and image could appear. Please mute yourself at this time so we don't get any background noise. And thank you very much for doing that. Sheila Wilkinson, one of our committee members, will discuss the dues portal. Mary Witten, a committee member, will talk about Forms 15 and 16. Diana Haskell, committee member, will share tips and techniques on how to transition to a new a new treasurer. Glenda Reynolds, our committee member, will monitor our chat. Peggy Jonas, our international headquarters liaison and finance director, will be working all the technology. And this morning, we're real excited to have with us Dr. Debbie LeBlanc, our international president. I am Nancy Davis, the chair of the International Finance Committee, and I have the privilege of starting the meeting by introducing Ali Franco Stern. Cy has already sent a letter out to each state, and her picture is on the international web banner. And I would like to tell you a little bit, some other fun facts about her that are not included in the letter nor on the website. And then after I introduce her, she's going to speak to us for a few minutes. Originally from Burbank, California, Cy's upbringing was enriched by her parents, who diligently instilled the importance of speaking Spanish within the household. Growing up, she was surrounded by a bustling atmosphere, not only due to her 3 older biological siblings, but also because her parents fostered numerous children, making their home lively and vibrant. While her hobbies once included pole vaulting, acting, and music, they've now evolved into more relaxing pursuits, like indulging in long baths and cooking shows. And she shared with us a minute ago that she likes the cooking shows that are competition oriented. Despite the shift, Cy enjoyed her time in the entertainment industry with appearances in movies and TV shows, such as The Amazing Spider-Man and CSI New York. She even released a music album entitled Water. Additionally, Cy has reached challenging heights, both figuratively and literally, reaching up to 11 feet in pole vaulting and making it to the Olympic trials in 2008. As a proud parent of 2 young children, ages 1 and 4, she now resides in Georgetown, Texas, following a move from Reno, Nevada. Driven by her childhood aspiration of living on a farm, Georgetown offers her the perfect blend of rural charm and urban convenience, allowing her to embrace her dream lifestyle alongside her family. I welcome and now introduce to you Cy Franco Stern, our newest membership director. Cy?
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here today to say hello and see some returning faces that I've seen a couple of times and some new faces. It is quite impressive to have 4 pages in the Zoom full of people who just help keep this organization running. And I am in awe of everything y'all do. Thank you so much for letting me come in here and say hello. And just a little bit about my work background, since you heard a little bit about my personal background. If you have not had a chance to read my introduction letter, I have held positions as creative director of Direwolf, a cybersecurity firm. I was project manager at Blockchains LLC, a leading fintech enterprise specializing in blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, and Web3 adaptation. And additionally, I worked as senior advisor of branding and promotions at the Pacquiao Brand Group. This was for the Manny Pacquiao and Manny Pacquiao Mayweather fight. So I have a bit of range with tech and some entertainment, and of course, branding and promotions. And so I think these skill sets really set me apart for this position because I get to be a little bit of everything and bring some of that stuff and some of that knowledge here to DKG. And I'd love to open it up now to any questions that you might have for me about my maybe personal life or professional life or how I can assist you in any way. No questions? It's early, huh?
Oh,
Vicki Jackson from Oregon. What I wanted to know is, are you going to put some of all of that, I'm just going to say, put that energy into creating booklets and software for the chapters to use, or are you strictly just going to be there at International and promoting new things going on there?
So my role is membership director, is focused on the member and the member experience, the way we view new member onboarding, the way we view members in general, and how they view the organization. And so some of that might come as suggestions. But I'm not the tech director. I do have a great relationship with Victor, who is our tech director, and we do talk about tech stuff from time to time. So he does appreciate my opinion on those things. I think a lot of our stuff is based on what is available to us as far as financing, right? And this is something that you all know very well about what budget we have and how we can work with that budget. And sometimes we are limited. But yes, I will definitely put my input in if it does come up with when technology does come up in the conversation. I'm definitely included in those conversations. Victor's really great about that.
and ladies, feel free to use the icon at the bottom of your screen to show a hand in your screen if you would like.
Yes, because if you have your hand up on page 4, we might not be able to see you. So if you do put your hand up with the reactions button at the bottom, it has a little smiley face and a plus sign.
Sai, do you see any other questions? I'm
see-
not.
I don't see anything.
Oh, there we have a question. Carol.
Carol?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. I'm on my phone, it's a little tricky. What are I'm sure you have loads of ideas for how to bring DKG new members and to create enthusiasm. So I'd kind of like to hear some of your ideas on what you're going to do.
Absolutely, Carol. So I would first like to start by showing y'all a lot of respect. DKG's been around for 100 years. And so I don't want to come in here, changing everything on day one. I first want to take my time getting to know the way the organization functions, get a beat on what the tone is and what is respectable for the member and for the people who run this organization, the members who really put the time in first. So all things that I do suggest will come with respect first and foremost, and knowledge of how the organization has functioned first. So with that said, I do have some ideas already in the first month, and I do want to focus on the way we are branding, telling the story of DKG. It is an untapped gem of who you are and how you support your community. And I really want to focus on that with you know, the new type of member that we are looking for. So kind of take a step away from the membership base that we have and add maybe a fresh new, a little bit straight out of college, maybe a bit more and energetic. Not that you guys are not energetic. I'm just saying that there needs to be a bit more longevity with the time that people can spend on DKG. And so we want to take a look at our membership and how we approach adding members. Sometimes I feel that maybe members join once they've retired or once they've kind of had their career, and perhaps we want to frame that more as something that you do simultaneously with your career in order to help you and follow the pursuits that you find interesting and help you reach new heights in your career. And I think that's getting lost in the verbiage, in the way we're talking to members. And so as I start to really get to know the way we discuss things around you know, joining, what the process is for each chapter, that will become clearer and clearer, and we can create you know, guides on what I would think and what I would do. But again, you know, it is really up to the chapters to make those decisions on their own, and I will respect that. That's just one of the many things, Carol. And also, you know, with telling the story, I really do want to add, you know, some of my background with like video content and telling the story in that manner, creating video content that will tell the history so that it's easy to find. Because right now, when you look up DKG, if you don't know anything about it, you get the website. We don't really hear anything about the founders. We don't really see anything about the history, and the history is rich. I've seen these books of documented history of how difficult it was for the women who started this organization to get the ball rolling. And so we really want to highlight that as well. One other thing that comes to mind as well is that some of this can feel confusing to a new member, although, you know, I've been in this position for only a month, and I am starting to get the concept of why there are so many moving parts, why there has to be, you know, multiple boards, why there has to be so many committees. It makes sense now once living it a little bit more, but in the beginning, it feels overwhelming. And I feel that a new member or a potential member could view that and see that as a roadblock. Ooh, that seems like a lot of brain power to wrap my head around. So if we could create things that guide the new member into understanding what they need and how to get what they need and how to request what they need and how to comprehend maybe Robert's Rules of Order, the governance structure, or even how to communicate with one another, or how to, you know, maybe team up with other chapters. Like all of these things need to come together and be really simple for a potential member. We don't want to overwhelm them with, this is an organization that has been around for 100 years, that has a lot of you know, history. Also, here's the 20 things that you need to know about your first day. You know, it should be a lot more simple and maybe like a guided plan. So these are initiatives that I want to work on in the first couple of years.
Sai, thank you so much. We appreciate your time and your energy, and we look forward to what you bring to Delta Kappa Gamma. And you've already brought so much, and we appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have a good day.
You too.
Now we're going to turn our meeting over to Sheila Wilkinson, who is going to share with you about the dues portal. Sheila?
Good morning, everyone.
I have posted this document on the online chat or on on Basecamp for all the state organization treasurers. I'll be happy to send this document to anyone who is not able to access it on Basecamp. But it's just something that I created several years ago for my own treasurers in Kentucky. I am the state organization treasurer for Kentucky. And as I trained my chapter treasurers, I felt it was necessary for them to have a little bit of a guidance on how to attack, so to speak, the dues portal. So I have really basic step-by-step instructions. I do not want to read those directly to you. I believe that you can read those yourself. But a couple of things that I'd like to point out to you is that if you have never logged on to the website, then your username is your DKG number. And there is a default password. So if you have never logged on, you'd use your member number, as your username, and then the default password is DKG 2014 Society, all lowercase letters. If you have not created a password, you would use that default password. If you have forgotten your member number, or you don't know your member number, you can call International. They will help you with that. But you can also initiate the online chat, which shows up at the bottom corner of the website every time you log on. You can initiate that. The people are very, very helpful. They get back to you as soon as they can. And it's always within a minute or two. So as you log on to the website, you will see, I've put a screenshot into this document so that you can see what it looks like. And you will log on and go to the far left under the green banner and click on My DKG, which will then bring up something that says My Account. If you click on that, it will take you to your account. And as your account comes up, you'll see your name. In the screenshot, my name is on there, but you can edit your information if you need to. If anything is incorrect, you can fix that. You can change your password if you have not done that. And so lots of things that can be done there at that screen. So the main thing that you want to look for is if you are a chapter treasurer and you're logging on to and you want to get to the dues portal, you will have a tab that says Chapter Connect. If you click on that, it will bring up your chapter name only. And when you will see a place where you can click on dues portal. If you are a state organization treasurer, you will have a tab at the top of the screen where the tabs are that says State Connect. If you click on State Connect, it will pull up all the chapters that are in your state. And you can do anything you need to do for any of your chapters. You can edit information. You can check on their dues orders, what has been prepared. You can check on what dues orders have been paid. Lots of different ways that you can access information. And so depending on your role, you'll either choose State Connect or Chapter Connect. Then after April 1st, you will see on the screen, after you've clicked on Chapter Connect or State Connect, you'll see resources on the far right. And there's a screenshot of that as well. The very bottom button is Dues Portal. So if you click on the Dues Portal, it will bring up the chapter names that you're associated with. If it's, as I said before, if it's a state, it's all your state organization or all your chapters in your state. If it's just a chapter, it will only be your chapter. Very critical for you to know is that when you choose to open the dues portal, you're going to see two tabs or two columns. One is orders and one is members.
And in either of those columns, you can find the word manage. So the very first thing you should do is manage your members. And that would mean you're changing any information that they have that may be incorrect. If the status of a member is changing from active to reserve, you can do that before you begin. You must complete all member changes and all member additions before you create an order. If you try to create an order before you do all this information, the order will come out incorrect. And so add or transfer is only for new members. So you would add members, and what's going to happen there is you will type in, you'll be able to type in the name, and the software will go ahead and search for a name and make sure that you are not duplicating someone who's already a member or has been a member. If you're transferring someone, that's really helpful because it pulls up their information for you there. After you have made the necessary changes under member management, you can create an order. When you click on orders and manage the orders, a list of members will pop up. And for state organization treasurers, this is a really helpful information because you can check on members. You can check and see who's paid, who hasn't paid. But it also allows you to see whether or not a chapter treasurer has submitted an order, whether that order's been paid, and so forth. But after you create or you're going to create an order after you've clicked on the members who are paying, there's a toggle button at the top that you can select all members. If every single one of your members have paid, then you can toggle that button and it will pull up all your members. If you want to pick and choose the members that have paid, then you do that as well. But after you create the order, you will get an order number, you will get total amounts that are to be sent to the international organization and the state organization. And the address for international is listed on the dues order. So for state organization treasurers, you would probably want to make sure that all your treasurers have your information. And I realize that sounds like a silly reminder, but what I do in my state is I print about 4 labels with my mailing address on them and give them to my treasurers, just because I don't want them to have to search for my address or email me and ask me for my address. They have those pre-printed labels. I also pre-print labels for international, so they have that as well. You want to try and stress to your treasurers that they need to print an order for their own record keeping. They need to print an order for the state organization treasurer, and they need to print an order for international. This is really, really critical because international has no way of knowing when they get just a check in an envelope, who's this from, what's this for. Everything needs to be as organized as possible. And you know, I personally have treasurers who don't like technology and they don't like to print the orders. So in that case, I try to always keep up with the orders and what's been posted and what's been sent. And that way I can contact international if I need to. The other thing is that the order number needs to be written on a check. Any check that's sent needs to have the order number. It needs to clearly designate what the chapter is and what the state organization is, because several of my chapter treasurers have accounts that say DKG or just Delta Kappa Gamma. And so even I have to keep in mind, okay, this treasurer, I know this treasurer is the treasurer of Delta chapter. So I have to go in and write Delta chapter on their check so that I will remember who that belongs to. So it's, I think that if you stop and think about the volume of mail that they're getting at international, and I believe the number is somewhere close to 2,000 chapters. And so if every chapter sends one dues order, that's 2,000 envelopes that have to be opened, 2,000 checks that have to be deposited, scanned, everything checked. So I stress to my chapter treasurers to please not produce any orders until June 15th. That doesn't mean they can't collect dues. They can start collecting dues as soon as they want. They can deposit those dues into their checking account for their chapter. Don't sit on the checks. Don't hold on to the checks. Deposit those as soon as possible, but wait to create the dues order and write your checks to international and state until at least June 15th. So you have as many members on that order as you possibly can. I know in my state, I have some treasurers who completely wait until they have everybody that they know they're gonna get. But I have others who'll send me, this week I might get 2 orders that are 1 person each. Then next week I'll get an order that has 2 people. And then the next week I get an order that has 4 people. And so, not that I mind myself, it's not a big deal for me, but I just always envision the workers and the employees at International going through all of these envelopes, opening them, trying to process everything. So please try to minimize the number of orders that you send to International. I do have that in my document, that International receives hundreds of dues payments, and I've been corrected that it's thousands, but and so it's very crucial to their success of being able to process your order if you are as meticulous as possible when you send that. I have put my email address on this document. You can feel free to email me with questions or anything that you need. I will do everything I can to help you, and I feel that my job is to make the roles of the chapter treasurers easier, and also want to help the state organization treasurers who might need my help as well. I've also put my cell phone number there. You can text me, you can call me, you can email me. Anything that you need is wide open, and I'll be happy to help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. We appreciate you very much. We have a question in the chat, and it's a misunderstanding, so we want to make sure that, Glenda, would you share that with us?
The question is, may we manage the members in the portal before June 15th and then make the order after June 15th?
Yes, yes, you can.
Okay, the question again is, can you, as a state treasurer or chapter treasurer, manage your members in the dues portal before June 15th and then create the order after June 15th? And the answer is yes, you can do that. Again, Sheila, thank you. We appreciate it. Now we're going to turn to Mary Witten, and she's going to share with us about forms 15 and 16.
Good morning, everyone. So forms 15 and 16 are very important forms for International because it really helps us understand the health of the organization at the chapter level and the state level. It also provides us important information about monies that you award to both members and non-members, because that's certainly a benefit for us, but it also tells us how we can support non-members as well. Those forms are updated every spring. Right now, the new forms are not up there. They will not be up there until June 1st. For chapter treasurers, it is form 15, and it is due on middle of July, and those dates will be on the forms one of our jobs today before we leave is to update the forms. And for state organization treasurers, though, it is form 16, and it is due the middle of September. And it is, remember, for the fiscal year, so it would be for the fiscal year of July 1 of 23 to June 30th of 2024. And so it's very important for us to get that information from you so we can do the work at the International headquarters.
Great, Mary, thank you. And we will, that is one of the things that this committee is tasked with, and we will be discussing those forms today, and then they will be posted June 1 or around there. Now we'd like to turn to Diana Haskell, who is going to share some tips and techniques on how to transition or onboard a new treasurer. Diana?
Good morning. It's wonderful to be together with you. This is my third treasurer talk, and it seems as though we're getting to know each other and trust each other, and I think that's so important. My role here today is to provide state treasurers an opportunity to utilize a checklist. And you may use this checklist, or you may amend this checklist to suit your purposes. The information on the checklist was garnered from the handbook of the Delta Kappa Gamma Society International, which is also on the website. This will help, hopefully, state officer training that may be occurring this spring or this summer or even in the fall, particularly for treasurers and officers that have financial responsibilities. So as we look at this finance checklist for the chapter treasurers, my first tip is to read the handbook. My first tip is for those of you who have not read it, pages 10 through 19 are really under the umbrella of finance. Pages 23 to 24 are about the officers and specifically the responsibilities of the treasurer. Of course, it would be important that an officer, appointed or elected, should definitely review their chapter and, if necessary, state rules and governing documents. I would ask you to make sure at every level that the chapter has completed and submitted the form for reporting the 2024-2026 chapter officers, which is Form 110 and available under forms. If there is a change of treasurer, that treasurer must receive a Form 87, the international organization must receive Form 87, as well as the state treasurer, as only one dues portal will be opened per chapter treasurer. So we want to make sure that you as the chapter treasurer have access, and the key to that access is Form 87. I think one of the challenges for every incoming group of officers is the bank signature cards. Very, very challenging as the rules about checking and savings accounts continue to change and be updated. I would suggest that you call the chapter financial institution, make an appointment, and prior to arriving, learn what documents do you need to provide and who needs to be present if you are updating signature cards or making any changes to your checking, savings, or investment accounts. One of the things that I can assure you that you will need is a signed meeting minutes document in which the minutes identify the elected president and the appointed treasurer. And those are legal documents, so they must be signed, and you will likely leave a copy of that with the bank, as well as any other documents that the bank requests that you bring with you. What about all those documents that you've been storing if you are a chapter treasurer or an incoming chapter treasurer and receiving them? Information about which documents should be retained and which documents should be destroyed and how to correctly destroy them is available on a retention schedule, which is located in the handbook of the Delta Kappa Gamma Society International, and that's on page 12. And that's for your reference as well. Don't forget to record your online banking name and password if it's been changed with your president and yourself, chapter treasurers, and keep this information secure. It's just as important as your personal passwords and your personal usernames. Also, be looking at your chapter rules and or the activities that have preceded you regarding internal controls for disbursements. Ask yourself and look, is there a process for the approval of payments that you make? And remember, Your budget is not an approval process. Your budget is a roadmap. It's likely that having some form of request, some form of voucher for payments that should be probably signed by the president or her designee should be present at your chapter level. Also, take a look at receipts. As you receive checks at your home, if you're a chapter treasurer, of course you're by yourself. But what about those times when you're in a public setting and you are receiving cash and check payments? Is there a second person involved? Is there some kind of a checklist so that you can verify that you have received the correct number of checks, the correct number of cash payments, and also from whom you received them? As we move down here, we're now getting into some of the legal requirements. And remember that IRS Form 990 must not be filed before July 1 and must be, and you must also pay attention to the November 15th date, not after November 15th. Regardless of whether you try or not, you cannot get in before the 1st of July, and you cannot get in after the 15th of November. Please forward that information to your state treasurer so that she also has a record of your records as well. Again, the IRS will require some kind of a login and password. Again, make sure one other person, I suggest your chapter president, have that information and keep it secure. As Mary just talked about, your annual report of chapter dues, Form 15, needs to be completed and turned in by the 15th to your state chapter treasurer, your state treasurer. What about your financial review committee? Remember, the treasurer is never a member of that committee, but in fact prepares the documents for that committee to review. That financial review committee has a checklist, again, in the handbook, and it is on page 16. It's suggested that that financial review be handled and completed by the end of the fiscal year, July 30th. Remember that a chairman and members of the finance committee, chapter treasurers, state treasurers, you're certainly on that committee, but you may never serve as the chairman of that committee. That should be someone else. The finance committee will always be responsible for developing the available fund budget for the executive board at your chapter or state level to review. And then the finance committee would present that available fund budget to the membership for their approval or amendment and then approval. Collection of member dues and fees. Sheila did a wonderful job of explaining that. I'm not going to go into that, just some ideas that continue to reinforce the great information that Sheila provided. Also, one of the responsibilities of both membership and treasurer, who work very, very closely together, is that of membership cards and accessing the international website for members, as well as your state and local websites. Dropped members and all of the information that pertains to that should be reported and recorded at a chapter meeting through the meeting minutes. As Sheila indicated, take a good look at those member rosters, take a good look at those addresses and emails. We are dependent upon accuracy of email, accuracy of addresses, so that publications and information can be received by all chapter members. I remind you that you have what things that you already know, but if you're bringing on a new chapter treasurer, consistency, in recording revenue and expenses is critical. Keep your fund accounts separate, and remember there are 3 of them. An available fund is used separately from any scholarship fund that your chapter may have, and any other designated funds that your chapter may have initiated through the process of motions. Of course, the chapter treasurer should be prepared with a written statement of financial activity, which includes total revenue and expenses for each chapter meeting, and those totals may or may not be shown against budget. That's really a preference, and upon request could be provided. Also, upon request, a statement of your financial position, which would include your assets at your chapter level, checking, savings, etc. upon request. I strongly recommend that every chapter treasurer reconcile their bank and other financial institution statements on a monthly basis. Much easier to correct an error at this point than waiting until quarterly or even annually. And don't forget to remind the members of your chapter that contributions to all of the foundations are welcomed. Each contribution should be separate on Form 43. And then, as Sheila reminded us, there are so many resources, and we continue to be a resource as well. I encourage you to reach out to any member of this committee and, of course, utilize the resources that are on the website. It's my pleasure to serve here as a member of the Financial Committee, and I look forward to working with any state or chapter treasurer and provide as much support as we can possibly do. Thank you.
Diana, thank you very much. At this time, we're going to go ahead and look at any questions in the chat, and then we'll entertain questions from you ladies that are on the Zoom. Do you have any questions for us, Glenda?
Yes, I do, and the first one was kind of for Sly, but I think Peggy can answer. Will we ever have a time when DKG members can pay their own DKG dues directly to DKG and not have to go through the local chapter?
Could that happen? Yes. We have to remember right now, sorry, I'm messing with my computer. Right now, it's really not an option because we're not allowed to do it. We aren't allowed to collect. The way our structure is, the way our governing documents work, dues are collected at the chapter level and then submitted to the state and the society. So we currently don't have a way to bypass that system. That's how it's set up. That's how it works. We look at it. We look at opportunities to provide electronic, to receive dues electronically. But if we were to do it right now, it would have to come from the chapter, not the member. And we haven't honestly chosen to do that because of the fiscal impact. The fiscal impact of accepting all dues electronically would cost the society somewhere around $60,000 to $75,000 a year. And so we don't have that built into our budget yet. And the only way really to accommodate that would be either to cut something else or to add a fee for that to the membership dues that you're paying already in order to offset that cost, because it's around 3.5%. So we multiply that over the number of dues we collect, it adds up. So those are the two stumbling blocks right now. I investigate it actually every year and look at what other options are out there and what else we can do. I just haven't found a solution yet, but I will not stop looking. And it is something that at International we talk about a lot. One of them is to do it the other direction and have us collect all dues and send them to the state and the chapters, but we don't have any system or process in place for that. And I'm not even sure the governing documents allow it at this point. So the answer is hopefully someday, but it won't be this due season. So that's all I can.
Okay. Right, Glenda.
What about those members who do not use checks?
Well, again, a chapter can collect electronically if they wish. A chapter can sign up for PayPal or Venmo or one of those. And if you do it as well, typically those organizations charge for that unless it's a friends and family account. So if you're sending money to friends or family, they typically do not. So you have to look at the fee and can I set this up as a friends and family account, and will I get in trouble for doing that? And you won't get in trouble from International, but you may get in trouble for Venmo. And one of the things I often tell people is one of the reasons I can't do it is because no one would believe I have 2,000 friends or family. So, but if I were a chapter treasurer of the 10-member chapter, I might consider that as a possibility to do. And Sheila actually has some experience in setting up some accounts for electronic, receiving dues electronically. And if you want to reach out to Sheila directly, and again, her information was on the presentation, and those will be posted in Basecamp as well. And I'll see if I can get them to Chapter Connect so everyone can see those. You could reach out directly to Sheila and talk to her a little bit about how she does that. Again, at International, we just don't have that option right now, but that's a great question, and thank you for asking.
They would like to know how they're gonna get access to the checklist.
We will, again, I will have that posted in Basecamp, so your state treasurers will have it, or should have access to it. If you're a chapter treasurer and you don't have access to Basecamp, reach out to your state treasurer. It will be there in their, we have a system, an internal communication system called Basecamp, and they will, will have access to it. I will also work with Victor and the tech team on seeing if I can get it to Chapter Connect. I don't think that'll be an issue, but I just, it would have to come from them, and so, but I'll do my best to get it posted in Chapter Connect. And then in addition, you can always email any member of this committee. And we're available on the website. If you go to committees, there are pictures are there, and there's a little envelope. You can email any member of this committee, and they will gladly send you a copy of that checklist as well.
Couple questions about what is Basecamp and where is it?
Okay, Basecamp, if you're a state treasurer, you should have this application. It's a software application. You can have it on your computer and or your phone. And it's an internal communications project management software. Sometimes you hear of programs like Slack. It's a Slack type thing, a messenger type program. If you're a state treasurer and you don't have access or have not seen that, please email Peggy J at dkg.org, and I will get you added. We first set that up about 2 years ago, and we've changed some treasurers along the way, and I'm not really getting those notices right now. So if you're a state treasurer and you're on this meeting and you don't have Basecamp, email me and I will make sure you get it. And if you're a chapter treasurer, you might ask your state treasurer, do you have access to Basecamp? Can you get me that form? And if they don't, then they should email me as well. Because all I need to do is just go in and add them. And as you change state treasurers, if somebody would contact me directly and say, you know, Peggy, please take Vicky off and put Debbie on, I will make sure that happens.
Basecamp is a great communication tool. It has different sections within Basecamp where you can post messages, you can post documents. The state treasurers have talked amongst each other. Someone at times throughout this biennium, some state treasurers have put a question out there to find out what other states do about like collecting dues or notifying members or whatever the question might be, electronic payments, things like that. So it's a great tool for all of you state treasurers to talk to one another and get suggestions from each other. So, and you can post on there anytime. And it's also a great way for this international committee to share information with you state treasurers. So Glenda, do we have any other chats or any other questions?
I'm in the process of writing Peggy's email down.
Okay.
There was one concern of oh, she just did it faster than I.
Okay.
I typed that one lot. I typed that email.
Peggy's email is now on the chat, if you would like to look there for Peggy's information. So if not, we'll be happy to entertain any questions. Oh, excuse me, yes, well, I'm gonna take some, go ahead and take some questions from you ladies that are on our Zoom, and I'm not watching the screen, so would you be kind?
Vicky Jackson.
Okay, Vicky Jackson, if you'll go ahead, please, and share your question.
I'm Vicky Jackson from Oregon, and do we have a new treasurer's booklet, or do we just go on the website and get the information that way?
At present, you're going to go on the website and get the information there. This committee has updated all the documents. And a lot of documents that were here, there, and yonder are now under GAP. So GAP is a real good place to start, but under finance, you should see every resource that a treasurer needs. And that way it's easy to download as well if you would like a paper copy. Go ahead.
I have another question. Why can't the checklist be made available outside of base camp? So all
I
treasurers.
think we will make it available. I just don't have it there yet.
We will make it, the checklist will become available outside of base camp. It just hasn't been put there yet. So you hope to put it on State Connect and Chapter Connect, correct? Okay, so it should be on State and Chapter Connect, but we've got to get it back to the office and all of that, so.
Diana Lane.
Diana,
This is Diane Lossy. Oop, did I unmute myself?
you're
This-
good, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. This is Diane Lossy. I'm the state treasurer in Oklahoma. And a comment was made that you could manage your dues from your members on the portal without creating an order. And I don't know how you do that. I just tried it, like checked a couple of members that were had paid, like they had paid. And then there was no place to save that information. And I got out of it. And when I got back in, it was not there anymore. I just wondered if there is a way to manage your members on the portal without creating an order.
Sheila,
Yes, all you have to do is when you go to the dues portal, you're gonna see two columns. One column is members and one column is orders. So you want to go to the members, and down below, both columns have a manage button. So if you click under manage under members, you can manage the information about your members. And that do have to click save if you go in and do those
Right.
things. But you can wait as much time as you need to create an order. But you must change the member information before you create an order. So you-
Okay, great. I'll try that. Thank you.
absolutely.
I have a concern of one treasurer.
I want to add on to Sheila just real quickly. Also remember that if you're doing something like that and it's during a workday, 7:30 to 6:30 PM, you can go to chat on the website, chat in and say, I can't figure out how to manage my members, and one of our fantastic membership team will get right back to you and take you through it step by step. So, or you can also email them and ask them to call you, call them, all of those, they're well trained in that, well, in a lot of things, but in the dues portal as well. So, and they're more than happy to help you. So if you, one of the things I hate is for treasurers to end up spending half an hour and being frustrated when a 10-minute chat or email would have solved the whole issue ahead of time. So always remember those resources are there. And if something's not working for you, contact headquarters and we will help you figure it out. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, the one concern that one treasurer had was that she would be traveling and she has to finish all of her input by June 1st.
Yeah.
So that,
How long is the travel?
Yeah.
she didn't answer that.
I would recommend that you go ahead and possibly create all that, but then hold off on mailing. Or if you could maybe give it to your chapter president or someone in your organization who would be responsible enough to mail that after June 15th. I just think we have to be mindful of the processing that's going to have to take place at International. And so I would recommend that you just give it to a responsible person, maybe ask them to mail it or hold off and mail it when you come back. It doesn't have to be in to International prior to July 1. You can mail orders all the way up to the beginning of September. And so if you need to wait to mail that, you can.
Thank you. Do we have any others? So I'm not seeing the screen.
No.
No. Ladies, any other questions? No? Okay, then. I want to thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate you taking your time to Zoom in. And I know some of you, it's early in the morning, and others of you, it's later in the afternoon, but we appreciate you Zooming in. As soon as this meeting is edited, it will be posted on the web, and we will let you know when it is posted. On behalf of the 2022-2024 International Finance Committee, we want to thank you for all that you do. It has been a joy working with you this biennium, and we appreciate you very much. And I know you're going to be in great hands with the incoming International Finance Committee. Ladies, thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.